Hello there, and welcome to the Cosmic Lullaby Channel. Tonight, we will discover some of the most remarkable predators on Earth. They rule the wild with strength, intelligence, and a quiet grace. This is the world of the big cats. Not just the lions and tigers you're familiar with, but a stunning array of creatures from all around the globe. These animals are more than symbols of power. They are the finely tuned results of evolution, shaped over millions of years to survive in the planet's most challenging places. From the icy cliffs of the Himalayas to the open savannas of Africa, big cats have adapted in extraordinary ways. Each species reveals a different side of what it means to be both hunter and guardian of the natural world. We will explore how they think, how they communicate, and how they thrive. We will learn what their presence tells us about the health of entire ecosystems. It is a story of balance, of adaptation, and of mystery, told through the quiet rhythm of science and nature. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, just breathe. Let your eyes grow heavy, and let the wild cradle your thoughts, calm, steady, and free. Let's begin. The roar of a lion can travel across miles of open savanna. A lion's roar isn't just loud, it is an acoustic force designed for distance. At full power, the sound can carry for more than 5 miles across open land. This is not simply shouting into the void. It is a strategic broadcast, a geopolitical statement in the animal kingdom. The roar begins deep in the chest, where powerful muscles push air through a flexible larynx unlike that of any other cat. The vocal folds are square and flat, a unique evolutionary trait that allows them to vibrate with minimal effort but maximum effect, producing a deep, resonant call that travels far through the air. Lions use it to announce their territory, a sonic fence against intruders. They use it to locate members of their pride, a roll call in the dark. And they use it to warn rivals to stay away, a declaration of strength that requires no physical confrontation. When several lions roar together, the sound waves overlap, creating an effect that feels like thunder rolling across the plains. Even elephants and buffalo react to it. The sheer physicality of the roar, that deep vibration you can feel in your chest, is a reminder that sound itself can be a weapon, a language, and a declaration of presence, all at once. In the dense forests of Asia, another great cat wears its identity for all to see. Tigers each wear a unique pattern of stripes, like a fingerprint written in fur. Every tiger's stripe pattern is singular. No two have ever been found to match. These stripes are not random decoration. They are functional camouflage, breaking up the tiger's shape amid the dappled light and tall grass of its environment. The evolutionary artistry is astonishing. The arrangement of black lines and orange fur helps the tiger disappear in plain sight, allowing it to stalk silently through its world. And this pattern is more than skin deep. Even the skin underneath carries the same markings, as if nature painted them from the inside out. This biological reality has become a critical tool for geopolitics and conservation. Scientists in India, Nepal, and Russia use these unique patterns to identify individuals in the wild. Camera traps capture thousands of images, and sophisticated AI software analyzes the stripes, building databases that track movements, population changes, and the effectiveness of anti-poaching corridors. Each tiger's coat is an unrepeatable signature, a living barcode that allows us to watch over them from afar. To the human eye, the tiger's beauty is mesmerizing. To its prey, that beauty is invisible until it is far too late. Further south in the savannas and forests, another predator relies not on patterns but on pure power. Leopards can carry prey heavier than themselves up into the trees. The leopard's strength borders on the unreal. These cats often haul entire antelope, sometimes weighing twice their own body mass, up vertical tree trunks to store their kills. This behavior is not just athletic, it is deeply strategic. By lifting food high into the branches, leopards protect their meal from the powerful scavengers of the African plains, like hyenas and lions. Their muscular shoulders and back, attached to a uniquely flexible skeletal structure, give them the leverage to drag weight that would exhaust almost any other predator. Once perched safely above, the leopard drapes the carcass over a branch like a larder, returning for days to feed in peace. Scientists believe this remarkable behavior evolved to help these solitary leopards survive among stronger, socially organized competitors. It is a strategy of avoidance, a way to opt out of the ground-level power struggles. Watching one ascend, a blur of spotted muscle and grace, feels like watching gravity itself lose its grip. Its power is hidden within elegance, nature's quiet reminder that strength doesn't always announce itself with noise. Sometimes it moves silently through the trees. In the dense, competitive rainforests of Central and South America, this method is supremely efficient and final. There is little struggle, little noise. The jaguar's hunting style is an ancient echo of a time when strength and precision meant survival. Its power is not loud or showy. It is absolute, controlled, and perfectly tuned to its world. One silent strike, and the forest holds its breath. High above the world's jungles and plains, hidden among the peaks of Central Asia, lives the snow leopard. It is an animal so elusive that locals call it the ghost of the mountains. It inhabits altitudes higher than most birds of prey, thriving where the air is thin and the landscape is unyielding. Its strategic value lies in its mastery of this extreme environment. Its pale fur blends with rock and snow, patterned with soft gray rosettes that vanish into the light, making it a phantom to both prey and observer. Everything about the snow leopard is built for cold and silence. The overall mood spread its weight across snow, acting like natural snowshoes. Dense fur insulates against freezing winds, and a long, thick tail, an asset of immense importance, wraps around its body like a blanket during rest, conserving precious body heat. Its very voice is a whisper. The snow leopard's vocal cords lack the structure needed for a true roar. So instead, it communicates with low growls and a gentle rumbling chuff. For centuries, its presence was myth, a flicker seen at the edge of a storm. Even now, its existence is a geopolitical footnote, a creature that silently patrols the contested and remote borders of nations like China, India, and Pakistan. Conserving such an animal requires international cooperation in regions where political tensions often run high. To see one in the wild, therefore, feels like more than glimpsing a dream. It is a testament to life's ability to endure in the planet's harshest and most politically complex landscapes. From the silent, frozen heights, we descend to the sun-scorched plains of Africa, where survival is not about enduring the cold, but about mastering speed. Here, the cheetah trades power for velocity, built for breathtaking acceleration. The cheetah is evolution's sprinting masterpiece. Everything in its design serves a single high-stakes purpose: speed. Lightweight bones reduce mass. A long, flexible spine acts like a spring, coiling and uncoiling with each stride. Enlarged nostrils and massive lungs flood the body with oxygen. In a burst, it can accelerate from a standstill to more than 60 miles per hour in just a few seconds, faster than a performance sports car off the line. But this incredible specialization comes with a strategic cost. Cheetahs lack the brute strength of lions or tigers. Their claws don't fully retract, providing the grip of a sprinter spikes instead of the silent, hidden weapons of an ambusher. The hunt is an all-or-nothing gamble of energy, a chase that lasts mere seconds but costs nearly everything. Afterward, the cheetah must rest, panting in the grass, its body trembling from the effort. It is a fragile kind of dominance, swift, dazzling, but fleeting. In that narrow space between stillness and exhaustion, the cheetah shows us that nature's greatest advantages often come with an exquisite, almost unbearable vulnerability. In the Americas, another cat demonstrates a different strategy for survival. Not specialization, but profound adaptability. Few wild animals have such a vast range as the cougar, also known as the mountain lion or puma. It is the most widespread big cat in the Americas, roaming from the cold northern forests of the Yukon all the way to the southern tip of Chile. Despite this incredible reach, cougars are rarely seen. They are masters of the periphery, moving mostly at night, silent and solitary, leaving only tracks and echoes in the hills. Their adaptability is their secret weapon. They thrive in deserts, mountains, jungles, and even the suburbs of major cities, adjusting their diet and behavior to whatever landscape they claim. They can leap upward more than 15 feet and forward nearly 40 in a single bound. To encounter one is rare. To hear its eerie, human-like scream is unforgettable. The cougar's quiet resilience speaks of a species that endures not through dominance, but through patience and versatility, surviving wherever wildness still has room to breathe. Its return to the eastern United States is a modern geopolitical story, raising complex questions about urban planning and humanity's willingness to coexist with a predator that refuses to disappear. This solitary existence stands in stark contrast to the lion. Lions are the only truly social big cats, living in complex family units called prides. Unlike the lonely lives of other big cats, lions operate within a tight-knit social and political structure. Each pride may include multiple related females, their cubs, and one or more males who guard the territory. This structure gives lions a remarkable strategic advantage in the open savanna, where teamwork makes hunting large prey and defending resources far more effective. The lionesses coordinate their hunts with military precision, while the males patrol the pride's borders and deter intruders with their powerful roars. Within the pride, relationships are deep and emotional. Members groom, nuzzle, and greet each other with affectionate gestures that reinforce their bonds. Cubs are often raised communally, nursed by any lactating female. And even the adult males form strong coalitions, sometimes remaining bonded for life. This rare social organization makes the lion one of the most complex mammals outside of primates and elephants. Beneath their regal image lies something profoundly familiar, a pattern of loyalty, protection, and connection that mirrors our own most ancient social instincts. It is a kingdom built not just on strength, but on the enduring power of family. The tiger's stripes are not just a surface-level feature, they are a fundamental part of its being. In a striking detail of biology, a tiger's stripes even appear on its skin, right beneath the fur. If you were to shave a tiger, which of course no one should ever do, the stripes would remain, etched into the skin itself. This is not merely a pattern in the fur, it is a deep biological imprint. A natural male narrator with a warm, friendly tone. Each stripe corresponds to an area of differently pigmented cells in the epidermis, meaning the pattern exists at every layer of the coat. This explains why a tiger's markings never fade or blur, even as its fur grows or sheds over a lifetime. Evolution shaped this design as perfect camouflage, a tool for survival in the dappled light of forests and grasslands. The shadows and vertical lines break up the body's outline, making the tiger nearly invisible among reeds and trees. This immutable identity marker has proven invaluable in modern conservation. Scientists can identify individual tigers just by photographing their stripe patterns. These patterns act as living barcodes in population studies, allowing researchers to track individuals across vast, often politically sensitive territories without the need for invasive tagging. It's a quiet marvel of nature, a signature left not only on the surface but within the skin itself, a pattern born into every cell, unchangeable and unique. The scale of these animals is, at times, difficult to comprehend. The largest cat ever recorded weighed nearly as much as a small horse. The biggest tiger ever documented, a massive Siberian male, was estimated to weigh more than 850 pounds. These giants, native to the snowy forests of eastern Russia, China, and North Korea, are living proof of a biological principle known as Bergmann's rule. In cold climates, larger bodies conserve heat better. The Siberian tiger's bulk, along with its thick coat and a dense layer of fat, make it the ultimate northern predator. When standing on its hind legs, such a tiger could easily look a grown human in the eye. Yet despite their immense size, they move with astonishing silence, padding through deep snow like drifting shadows. Encounters with these great cats are rare now, their numbers having dwindled due to poaching and habitat loss. To imagine one walking through moonlit pines is to glimpse an ancient power, a reminder that the natural world still holds forces larger than we can fully comprehend. Their silence is no accident. It is a product of millions of years of refinement. Big cats walk on silent, padded toes that mask every single footfall. Every step a big cat takes is a calculated act of silence. They walk digitigrade, meaning on their toes, with thick, cushioned pads beneath each foot. These pads act as shock absorbers, muting sound and allowing the cat to glide rather than stomp over the terrain. To an animal being stalked, the silence is deeply unsettling. There is no warning, no rustle, just the sudden, final presence of muscle and eyes. Scientists studying the physics of their stride found that big cats time each step so precisely that almost no unnecessary vibration passes through the ground. It is a level of stealthy precision that took millions of years to perfect. The art of motion so refined that even the wind struggles to hear it coming. Part of this silence is enabled by another extraordinary trait. Their retractable claws stay razor-sharp between hunts. Unlike dogs, whose claws are always extended and become dull from constant contact with the ground, most big cats can pull their claws inward when not in use. This simple, elegant ability keeps the claws protected and sharp enough to grip, climb, and slice when the moment demands it. The mechanism is purely anatomical. Tendons contract to extend the claws and relax to hide them away within protective sheaths of skin. The overall mood is relaxed, engaging, and comfortable, perfect for bedtime reading and space narration. The cheetah, whose semi-retractable claws act like cleats, providing traction during its high-speed chases. For the rest, those hidden blades are a secret weapon, always ready, always sharp. Each cat carries a silent arsenal, always sheathed, always waiting, sharper than any knife forged by human hands. The tiger's weaponry is particularly formidable. Its canines can grow longer than a human finger. These are extraordinary tools of evolution, curved ivory daggers reaching lengths of over 3 inches. These teeth are not just for killing. They are precision instruments, built for grip, puncture, and power. The canines interlock perfectly with the jaw structure, allowing a tiger to deliver a lethal bite while maintaining a powerful hold on large, struggling prey. They can pierce thick hide and bone with surgical efficiency. But unlike reptiles or sharks whose teeth constantly regrow, big cats have only one permanent set of adult teeth. Each tooth must last a lifetime. When a tiger loses a canine, it can struggle to hunt effectively, a stark reminder that even these apex predators have fragile vulnerabilities. A single broken tooth can be a death sentence. It is a testament to the fine balance of power in nature, where even the mightiest hunter is only as strong as its most crucial tool. Leopards perform one of the most astonishing feats of strength in the entire animal kingdom. With shoulders like coiled steel, they can hoist carcasses much heavier than themselves up vertical tree trunks. This is not a simple act of climbing. It is vertical weightlifting at a level that would exhaust almost any other predator. The adaptation serves a critical strategic purpose. Leopards often live among lions, hyenas, and other powerful scavengers that would steal their kill if it were left on the ground. By caching their food high in the branches, they can dine undisturbed for days, a solitary king in a leafy fortress. The muscular architecture behind this feat is remarkable. It involves incredibly dense forelimb muscles, flexible joints, and semi-retractable claws that anchor into bark like climbing hooks. Biomechanical studies have shown that leopards can exert pulling forces far beyond their own body weight, a display of raw physics and evolutionary finesse working in perfect concert. To see one vanish upward, prey held firmly in its jaws, is to witness the silent strength of survival expressed in pure vertical motion. Where the leopard demonstrates strength, the cheetah demonstrates precision. When a cheetah runs, its entire body becomes a complex aerodynamic system. Its long muscular tail is not just for decoration. It is a built-in steering device, a biological rudder. At top speed, as the cheetah pursues prey that zigzags unpredictably across the plains, its tail swings to counteract the torque of sudden turns, helping to maintain balance as its body twists in mid-air. A cheetah can change direction faster than almost any other land animal, sometimes adjusting its course in a single heartbeat. High-speed footage reveals that the tail's movements actually anticipate shifts in momentum a fraction of a second before the paws even touch the ground. Without that tail, the cat would tumble at its own velocity, a victim of its own incredible speed. Evolution turned balance into an art form. Every flick, every pivot is calculated with an instinctive precision. It is grace at the very limits of physics, an agility born from the need to catch life before it escapes. As night falls, another set of adaptations comes into play. The eerie glow in a cat's eyes comes from a structure called the tapetum lucidum, a Latin phrase meaning bright carpet. It is a thin, mirror-like layer of tissue located behind the retina. This layer bounces light back through the eye, giving the photoreceptors a second chance to capture every available photon. This simple mechanism doubles their ability to see in near darkness, a vital strategic edge for nocturnal hunters. Scientists studying its composition found it contains microscopic crystals that reflect specific wavelengths, optimizing their vision under starlight. In essence, big cats see the world as a landscape of faint contrasts, a dimension of reality completely invisible to us. To them, darkness is not an obstacle. It is their element, their home. Their senses are further refined by their whiskers, or vibrissae, which are far more than decorative hairs. Each one is deeply embedded in the skin and connected to a network of nerve endings so sensitive they can detect the faintest shift in air movement. This allows the cat to feel its surroundings, even in total darkness. When stalking, the whiskers spread forward like antennae, measuring the exact space between its face and the prey. During a pounce, they relay real-time feedback about position and distance, helping the cat adjust its bite to hit precisely on the neck or throat. It is a sensory map, constantly updating. It is a way of seeing without sight. Underpinning all of this is a skeleton unlike that of any other large predator. Their spines are extraordinarily flexible, allowing them to contract and extend their bodies in a single, powerful stride. During a sprint, a cheetah's spine acts like a spring, flexing to nearly double its stride length. For leopards and tigers, this flexibility allows them to coil into compact shapes, slipping unseen through foliage before exploding into motion. Even their shoulder blades are not rigidly attached by bone, but by muscle, granting a far greater range of movement. It is an evolutionary design of paradoxes: soft yet strong, light yet lethal, graceful yet immensely forceful. Every movement, from a slow crouch to an explosive leap, is an orchestration of physics and instinct, honed to near perfection. When a lion roars, the very air itself trembles. Recordings have measured the sound at over 100 decibels, comparable to standing beside a rock concert speaker or hearing thunder crack directly overhead. This is acoustic dominance. The structure of the lion's vocal cords allows them to produce these low, resonant sounds with minimal effort. Flattened, square-shaped folds vibrate more slowly than those of other animals, creating deep frequencies that travel for astonishing distances. The roar can be heard by other lions as far as 5 miles away. Within prides, roaring serves as both communication and boundary setting, a sonic fence that keeps rival groups apart in a form of auditory geopolitics. The synchronized chorus of several lions roaring together is one of the loudest natural sounds on land. It doesn't just mark territory, it asserts unity and power. For those who hear it at dawn or dusk across the savannah, it is a visceral reminder that power is not always seen. Sometimes it is only felt, vibrating through your bones. From this display of raw sonic power, we turn to a different kind of physical marvel. Acceleration is the cheetah's superpower. In roughly 3 seconds, or less than 3 heartbeats at rest, it can reach speeds exceeding 60 miles per hour. This burst relies on a combination of extraordinary physiology. Enormous nasal passages draw in oxygen. An oversized liver processes energy at an incredible rate, and powerful leg muscles propel the body forward with unmatched force. Unlike long-distance runners, cheetahs specialize in sprints so brief they border on self-destruction. Their bodies overheat quickly, forcing them to stop after about 30 seconds. Every chase is a biological gamble, a perilous alignment of reflexes and risk. High-speed cameras show how each stride covers over 20 feet of ground, with the body airborne more than it is touching the earth. The cheetah doesn't just run, it becomes motion itself, a blur between breaths. Its entire existence is built upon those few breathtaking seconds of speed. While the cheetah masters the open plains, the tiger commands a different element entirely. Unlike most cats, tigers are natural, powerful swimmers. They frequently bathe in lakes and rivers, especially in the sweltering heat of tropical forests. Some spend hours lounging in the shallows, their striped fur rippling in the water like living camouflage. They have partially webbed paws and strong hind legs that make them capable of crossing wide rivers effortlessly. In the Sundarbans mangrove forests of India and Bangladesh, they swim between islands to hunt deer and wild boar, sometimes covering several miles at a time. This is amphibious predation. Water also helps mask their scent, allowing them to approach prey undetected. Researchers have observed tigers hunting from the water, launching sudden, lethal ambushes with astonishing accuracy. This fondness for swimming sets them apart from nearly all other felines. For the tiger, water is not a barrier. It is another realm to command, another battlefield to master. In a similar vein, the jaguar of the Americas is also a master of the water. In their Central and South American habitats, they are often seen wading through rivers, lounging in pools, and even diving beneath the surface. Their muscular build and short, dense fur make them powerful swimmers. They hunt fish, turtles, and even caimans, striking from below like true aquatic predators. Researchers believe this affinity for water evolved from living in tropical regions dense with rivers and wetlands. For jaguars, water is not a threat, but an extension of their domain, a medium in which they move as effortlessly as they do through the forest shadows. And what of the lion, the king of the savanna? For all their might, lions are astonishingly strategic with their energy. A healthy adult may sleep or rest for nearly 20 hours every single day. They hunt mostly at night, when temperatures drop and the darkness favors them. The rest of their time is spent conserving energy. Their massive bodies generate heat quickly, and the African sun can be punishing. By resting in the shade and minimizing movement, lions balance survival with ruthless efficiency. This lifestyle is not idleness, it is a calculated strategy. For a predator that depends on short, violent bursts of intense energy, conservation is the key to reign. Even when resting, they remain socially connected, sprawling together, grooming and touching, reaffirming the political bonds of the pride. When a lion finally rises, every muscle is ready, every nerve sharpened. It is proof that even the kings of the wild understand the profound power of stillness. Leopards are not just strong, they are masters of deception. In some areas, researchers have documented a behavior that borders on cold, calculated patience. A leopard will kill its prey, feed partially, and then lie beside the carcass in what appears to be a deep sleep. When hyenas or vultures approach, sensing an easy meal, the leopard suddenly explodes into action, attacking the scavengers to reclaim dominance. This tactic requires not just strength, but a profound strategic calm, an understanding of how other animals think and behave. It shows that big cats can manipulate not just their environment, but the very expectations of other predators. They are opportunists in every sense. Their cunning ensures their survival in ecosystems filled with intense competition. Watching one feign indifference, eyes half closed but every sense fully awake, is like seeing instinct turn into calculation. The forest seems still until it isn't. Then, in a blink, illusion becomes action, and the leopard reminds the world that patience itself can be a weapon. From this silent cunning, we turn to a creature of surprising gentleness. Cheetahs chirp, purr, and yelp, but they cannot roar. Unlike lions and tigers, cheetahs lack the specialized larynx needed to produce a deep, rumbling roar. Instead, their vocal range includes a variety of sounds more like a bird than a predator. The chirps are especially distinctive, high-pitched calls used by mothers to communicate with their cubs across the tall grass of the savanna. They can also purr continuously, much like domestic cats, a trait that is rare among the large felines. Scientists studying their vocal anatomy found that the hyoid bone in their throat is ossified and rigid, which prevents the deep vibrations that create a roar. This gives the cheetah a voice that is entirely its own, lighter and more expressive. In captivity, handlers describe their calls as friendly, even chatty. It is a gentle sound from an animal built for lethal violence. It's another reminder that nature's fiercest forms often hold the most unexpected softness. The cheetah's voice, delicate yet distinct, belongs entirely to itself. In the mountains and forests of the Americas, another cat produces a sound that is far from gentle. Cougars make eerie screams that once inspired myths of ghosts. Few animal sounds unsettle humans like the scream of a cougar. It is a long, wavering cry that echoes through forests and mountains, sounding eerily similar to a human voice in distress. Early settlers described it as the wailing woman of the woods, believing spirits haunted the wilderness. In truth, these calls are territorial or mating signals, the cougar's way of announcing its presence across vast, rugged distances. The sound can travel for miles, bouncing off cliffs and valleys, making its origin incredibly difficult to pinpoint. Biologists think the scream evolved to carry effectively through terrain where visibility is poor. At night, the cry pierces the silence, sending ripples of unease through every living creature that hears it. For humans, the reaction is instinctive. Our brains recognize something both familiar and deeply alien. It is the wilderness reminding us that we are merely guests in a world still ruled by older, quieter powers. These creatures, whether they hunt by day or by night, possess a vision that we can only imagine. Big cats can see up to 6 times better in low light than humans. When dusk falls, their world comes alive. Their eyes contain far more rod cells than ours, the photoreceptors specialized for low light. Combined with the reflective retinal layer, the tapetum lucidum, this gives them extraordinary night vision. They can detect the faintest movement in near total darkness, tracking prey by a subtle flicker that we would never perceive. The shape of their pupils also helps, round in lions, but more vertically elongated in some leopards for better depth perception in variable light. To us, twilight dims the world. To them, it opens it up. Their gaze belongs to the hour between day and night, a time when light bends, shadows stretch, and the hunt begins. In the lion, even its most famous feature is a complex signal. The mane of a male lion is more than decoration. It is a biological billboard, a statement of fitness and power. Darker, fuller manes often indicate higher testosterone levels, better nutrition, and superior health. Females tend to prefer males with such manes, as they signal strength and genetic quality. Rivals, meanwhile, are more likely to avoid challenging a dark-maned male, recognizing the risk. The mane also serves a practical purpose. It is a shield, protecting the neck and head during vicious territorial fights. Yet, growing and maintaining such a mane comes at a cost. It causes significant heat retention in the punishing African sun. This is a strategic trade-off. The lion sacrifices comfort for status. It is a visible declaration of its ability to thrive despite a handicap, a signal of its underlying strength. Similarly, tigers use visual signals to communicate their dominance. They mark their territory with tree scratches higher than most humans can reach. As solitary animals with enormous territories, they need ways to communicate across vast distances. They leave deep claw marks on trees, often stretching to their full height to make the marks as high as possible. This serves 2 purposes.
The overall mood signals the tiger's immense size to potential rivals, an intimidating message left for all to see. And it deposits scent from glands located between their paw pads, leaving a chemical signature. Each mark says, "This place is taken." The forest becomes a vast, invisible conversation written in scratches and scents on trees older than the cats themselves. To walk among them is to read the quiet, powerful language of the wild. The story of the big cats is written in deep time. The lineage that would become the great roaring cats, the lions, tigers, leopards, and jaguars, split from their smaller ancestors about 10 million years ago. Fossils from that period show the early members of the genus Panthera beginning to develop the heavy skulls, the muscular jaws, and the flexible larynxes that distinguish them today. They spread quickly across the globe, adapting to new continents as climates shifted and new prey species evolved. Their ancient ancestors once roamed from Africa through Europe and deep into Asia, long before the glaciers of the Ice Age carved the modern world. The sleek hunters we recognize now are echoes of those first prototypes, creatures whose instincts were already being written into their very bones. 10 million years may separate them from us, but when a lion's eyes catch the light, that ancient, powerful design still looks back. During the last Ice Age, North America belonged to Smilodon fatalis, the famous saber-toothed cat. Its elongated canine teeth could reach nearly 8 inches in length, curved and serrated like ancient blades. Yet Smilodon was not built for speed. It was a stocky, powerful ambush predator, using its immense forelimbs to pin down its prey before delivering a precise, fatal bite. Fossils found in the La Brea tar pits in modern-day Los Angeles reveal that they hunted giant ground sloths, bison, and even young mammoths. Despite their fearsome appearance, those long teeth were surprisingly fragile, suited for slicing soft flesh rather than crushing bone. When the large Ice Age herbivores vanished due to climate change and human pressures, Smilodon followed. It was too specialized to adapt to smaller, faster prey. Its extinction, about 10,000 years ago, closed one of evolution's most dramatic chapters. The living big cats are its surviving relatives, leaner, more versatile, and inheritors of an empire once ruled by a creature of prehistoric grace and power. It is easy to see today's tigers as creatures entirely separate from the cats that share our homes, and yet they share a surprisingly close evolutionary link. Genetic sequencing shows that all living felines, from your household tabby to the great Amur tiger, descend from a common ancestor that lived about 10 to 12 million years ago. That early cat was likely a small, forest-dwelling predator with retractable claws and keen night vision. Over time, different branches of this family tree adapted to unique niches across the planet. Some grew larger to hunt the great hoofed mammals, while others remained small, specializing in rodents and birds. Despite the vast difference in size, our domestic cats still display many tiger-like traits. The slow, deliberate stalk, the flick of the tail just before a pounce, even the sideways threat display when startled. Watching a kitten play with a toy mouse is like seeing a miniature, harmless echo of evolution at work. It is a family resemblance that spans millions of years. Though lions and leopards now seem vastly different, one social and bold, the other solitary and secretive, their DNA tells a much closer story. Their evolutionary paths split only recently, roughly 3 to 4 million years ago. Early fossils from Africa show cats with intermediate traits, long limbs like a leopard, but broader skulls resembling a lion. As climates shifted and vast grasslands began to replace dense forests, one lineage adapted to hunting in open groups, while the other specialized in stealth and climbing. The result was a divergence, not just in body shape, but in behavior and social structure. It was a genetic fork in the road that produced two of Earth's most iconic predators. Even now, their territories sometimes overlap, and their behaviors can blur. Leopards can produce a faint roar, much like a lion, and lions will occasionally hunt alone. Evolution rarely draws hard, permanent lines. It sketches possibilities and then lets the environment decide which path survives. The cheetah walks a different path entirely. It is not one of the true roaring cats of the genus Panthera. Instead, it belongs to its own distinct branch of the family tree, having diverged much earlier in feline evolution. The story of the cheetah is a story of a choice, a trade-off made over millions of years. Its ancestors began evolving more than 5 million years ago, on a path that favored speed over raw strength. Over time, the cheetah lost the flexible larynx that allows for a roar. It traded powerful bone density for lightweight agility. Its bones grew lighter, its waist became narrow, and its heart and lungs became oversized engines, built to power the most specialized sprinter on Earth. This specialization is a beautiful, fragile masterpiece. Fossil records reveal that prehistoric cheetahs, some much larger than today's, once roamed across Europe, Asia, and North America before disappearing around the last ice age.
The modern cheetah is a lonely survivor of that ancient line, a living fossil of speed. Its delicate grace reminds us that evolution does not only favor the strongest or the loudest. Sometimes it chooses precision and timing as its ultimate masterpiece. And just as the cheetah was built for speed, the snow leopard was built for the sky. High in the Himalayas, the snow leopard thrives in air so thin it would leave most other mammals gasping for breath. Its skull is an engineering marvel, shaped by the scarcity of breath itself. It has large nasal cavities that warm and humidify the freezing air before it ever reaches the lungs. They act like a warm, hidden chamber, protecting the delicate lung tissue from the brutal cold. Its broad sinuses increase the surface area for oxygen absorption. Even its blood is different. Its hemoglobin is more efficient at binding to oxygen, much like the yaks that share its high-altitude home. It is a predator perfectly tuned to its realm of cliffs and clouds. The snow leopard is not merely surviving in thin air. It has turned the edge of the sky into its natural home. The story of the jaguar is a story of a long journey, hidden in deep time. For decades, we believed jaguars were native only to the New World, but ancient bones tell a different story. Fossil evidence from China, dating back around 2 million years, suggests that the jaguar's ancestors may have originated in Asia. It is thought that they crossed the Bering Land Bridge during a period of lower sea levels, making a silent, epic journey into a new continent. Once in the Americas, they evolved into the powerful rainforest hunters we know today. Their Old World relatives, if this story is true, the jaguar's journey ranks among the most extraordinary migrations in mammalian history. A silent traveler from Asia that became a symbol of the American wilderness, a story written into both the land and into the myths of ancient human cultures. While the jaguar may be an ancient traveler, the cougar represents one of the oldest cat lineages born within the New World itself. Genetic studies show that cougars, or pumas, may trace their origins back millions of years within the Americas, long before lions or jaguars ever crossed from Eurasia. Fossils of their early ancestors appear in North American strata dating to nearly 4 million years ago. Unlike the great roaring cats, cougars retained features closer to smaller felines. Rounded skulls, flexible voices capable of screaming but not roaring, and a deeply solitary nature. Their incredible success comes from this adaptability. They are generalists in a world of specialists, able to thrive in nearly every habitat from scorching deserts to snow-covered peaks. Researchers believe their ancient lineage helped them endure the immense climatic upheavals of the Ice Age, a period that wiped out so many other large, more specialized predators. Today's cougars carry the genetic echoes of those early survivors.
They are not relics of the past, but living evidence that evolution's oldest, most versatile designs can still outlast time. This path of quiet endurance stands in contrast to the genus Panthera, the lineage that gave rise to the world's great roaring cats. The name itself comes from a single dramatic evolutionary innovation: the ability to roar. This family, which includes lions, tigers, leopards, and jaguars, shares a common ancestor that appeared around 6 million years ago. Over time, this group diversified across continents, each member adapting its role and physique to different environments. As they spread, selective pressures shaped their distinct traits: the magnificent mane in the lion, the cryptic stripes of the tiger, the shadowy rosettes of the leopard, and the bone-crushing jaws of the jaguar. The Panthera lineage is a story of specialization, of power, and of a shared voice. Their ancestry links them not by territory or behavior, but by the deep, resonant signature that defines their family. This ability to roar is possible thanks to a specialized structure in the throat called the hyoid bone. In most cats, including the cougar and the cheetah, this bone is solid, allowing them to purr continuously, but not to roar. But in the 4 great cats, the hyoid is only partially ossified. It is flexible, able to vibrate at very low frequencies. This anatomical feature, combined with large vocal folds and powerful chest muscles, enables their deep, rolling calls. The trade-off is that these species cannot truly purr. Evolution turned a simple anatomical variation into an acoustic weapon, a tool of communication and intimidation that lets these predators broadcast their presence across miles. It is the sound of evolution itself, shaped into a voice that can move the earth. And every species of big cat speaks with its own distinct voice, a unique dialect. Lions roar in rhythmic, powerful bursts. Tigers communicate in deeper, rolling sequences. Leopards emit a harsh, sawing rasp that truly resembles a handsaw cutting through wood. And jaguars grunt and cough in rough, powerful pulses. These differences arise from subtle variations in throat anatomy, vocal fold tension, and lung capacity. The overall mood of communication is relaxed, engaging, and comfortable, perfect for bedtime reading and space narration. The tiger, in particular, possesses a hidden channel of communication. Beyond its audible roar lies a secret frequency: infrasound. Tigers produce deep rumbles below 20 Hz, a frequency too low for human ears to detect. Field studies using specialized microphones have revealed that these low tones can travel for miles through dense forests and even through the ground itself. Infrasound serves as both communication and intimidation. It can be felt more than it is heard, creating a deep, vibrating sense of unease in the chest of any nearby animal. Some researchers suggest it helps coordinate movements during mating season or territorial patrols, acting like a subsonic beacon in the thick jungle. It gives tigers a private, secure channel of communication, one that slips entirely beneath human perception. The forest, it seems, is filled with voices we cannot possibly hear, and the tiger's is one of the most commanding among them. The leopard's call is just as unique. It rarely roars in the traditional sense. Instead, it produces that unmistakable sawing call, a harsh, rhythmic rasp used to advertise territory and attract mates, often echoing through the forests at dawn and dusk. Each leopard's saw pattern carries a unique timing and pitch, functioning like a vocal fingerprint. The sound is produced as air passes over the vocal cords during both exhalation and inhalation, creating a continuous, grating sound. To human ears, it can sound startlingly mechanical, a reminder that nature's designs often overlap with the world of tools and textures. It is an auditory signature that blends perfectly with the forest's rhythm, marking a leopard's presence without ever revealing its exact location.
When a pride of lions roars together, the sound becomes something more than communication. It becomes unity made audible. Coordinated roaring sessions often happen at dusk or dawn, when the cool, still air allows the sound to travel farthest across the savanna. Studies show that this group roaring helps to reinforce territorial boundaries and to solidify the pride's own cohesion. Each lion's voice has subtle variations in pitch and rhythm, and when they are combined, the effect resembles a layered, rolling chorus. It is a symphony of power. Neighboring prides sometimes respond, creating a dialogue of thunder that ripples across miles of grassland. The synchronization is not accidental. The lions instinctively adjust their timing, much like a choir blending its voices. Behavioral ecologists have found that these collective roars can reduce the need for physical, violent conflict. They serve as a powerful reminder to rivals that a pride is large, alert, and united. To witness it is to feel the very pulse of a living community, sound turned into strength, echoing through the open night. The cheetah, however, defies these expectations of power, even in its voice. Instead of deep roars, it emits bright, high-pitched chirps that sound almost like songbirds. Mothers and their cubs use these calls to stay in contact across the tall, obscuring grass, while adults may chirp during courtship or when greeting one another. Field researchers describe the sound as a mix between a whistle and a bird call, a sound capable of carrying for surprising distances. To hear it is uncanny, a fragile, almost cheerful sound from a body built for lethal speed. This contrast perfectly encapsulates the cheetah's nature, light, agile, and unpredictable. A creature of contradictions that speaks softly while moving faster than the wind itself. The jaguar's voice bridges the gap between a roar and a growl. It is a deep, throaty series of grunts, often described as a sawing call, similar to that of the leopard, but rougher and shorter. Males use this sound to announce their presence and attract females, particularly in the dense jungle where visibility is severely limited. The sound carries astonishingly well through the humid air, sometimes traveling for more than a mile. Their varied vocal repertoire reflects their environment. Short, powerful bursts of sound suit the thick vegetation far better than long, rolling roars. It is the forest's hidden language, a form of communication carried on vibrations, threading through trees older than civilization itself. Perhaps the gentlest voice of all belongs to the ghost of the mountains. Snow leopards lack the anatomy to roar, but they express themselves through a softer sound called chuffing. It is a short, quiet burst of air through the nostrils, often used as a friendly, reassuring greeting. It is observed between mates, between mothers and their cubs, and even toward humans they have come to trust. A chuff carries no threat. It is the feline equivalent of a smile. Scientists studying their social behavior believe this low-intensity vocalization helps to maintain peace in sparse populations, reducing unnecessary conflict across their vast, lonely ranges. To hear a snow leopard chuff is a rare gift. A soft exhalation of breath in the frozen air, a touch of warmth in the bitter cold. It is the gentlest sound ever produced by a predator capable of such extraordinary power. But communication for these animals does not rely on voice alone. They use a language that is far older and completely invisible,
They use scent, the overall mood of information left behind on trees, rocks, and trails broadcast a wealth of information. Glands near the face, tail, and paws secrete oils rich with hormones that reveal identity, sex, and even emotional state. When a lion sprays or a leopard rubs its cheek against a tree, it is leaving behind a chemical fingerprint, a signature as distinct as our own. Other cats reading these marks can discern not just who left them, but how recently they were there. In dense habitats where vision and sound are limited, scent forms a map of presence that can last for days. Researchers compare it to written correspondence, messages exchanged in time rather than in space. The forest becomes a living network of invisible signals. To us, it is imperceptible, but to them, it is a language as clear as speech. The wild written in scent rather than in sound. Beyond sound and scent, there is another layer to their dialogue, a language of pure motion. Body language is a constant, silent conversation among the great cats. The position of their whiskers, for instance, is a precise indicator of their state of mind. Whiskers angled forward signal intense focus or aggression. When they are flattened backward against the face, it signals fear or submission. A slow, deliberate flick of the tail's tip can indicate deep irritation, a warning sign to back away, while broad, sweeping arcs may show curiosity or an invitation to play. Within the complex social structure of a lion pride, these subtle gestures are the glue that holds the society together, preventing conflict and strengthening bonds without a single sound. Cubs learn this silent language early, watching the adults interact and mimicking their postures during play. It is a complete system of communication, where every part of the body is a tool for expression. The slightest twitch of a whisker, the subtle shift in posture, the slow blink of an eye, all are sentences in the unspoken conversation of the wild. For animals that rely so heavily on stealth, silence is always safer than speech. Their entire bodies become instruments of communication, translating thought directly into motion. And that motion can be devastatingly powerful. Few muscles in the animal kingdom can rival the sheer force of a tiger's front limbs. They are built for grappling with large, dangerous prey, not for long-distance running. These forelimbs contain thick layers of fast-twitch muscle fibers, capable of delivering crushing, explosive force in an instant. When a tiger pounces, it wraps these immense limbs around its prey, using its momentum and sheer strength to pull the animal down. The claws sink in, the body twists, and a single, powerful strike of the paw can knock an adult deer completely off its feet. Researchers examining tiger skeletons found unusually broad shoulder blades and a reinforced humerus bone, all adaptations for generating immense leverage. In rare observations, tigers have been seen breaking the spine of large prey instantly, ending the hunt in one decisive, shocking movement. This is not brutality. It is a terrifying form of precision where every muscle acts in perfect, violent harmony. To watch one move is to see biology's idea of the perfect balance between overwhelming force and absolute control. Even the smallest details of their anatomy are honed into perfect tools. A close look at a big cat's tongue reveals thousands of tiny hook-shaped structures called papillae. These keratinized spines curve backward like miniature claws, giving the tongue a rough, sandpaper-like texture. When a cat licks meat from a bone, each one of these papillae acts like a tiny comb, gripping the tissue and pulling it free with remarkable efficiency. The same structures are used to groom their fur, removing parasites and spreading natural protective oils through the coat. This specialized tongue ensures that absolutely nothing from a kill is wasted. A lion can strip a carcass almost perfectly clean, gaming every last ounce of nutrition. It is an everyday miracle of design, not dramatic, but brilliantly effective. It is proof that evolution refines even the smallest details until nothing at all is left to chance. And powering all of this, inside every big cat beats a cardiovascular system tuned for brief, violent explosions of effort. Their hearts and lungs are massive in proportion to their body size, far larger than in most other mammals.
This system is built to flood the muscles with oxygen in a matter of seconds. When a lion sprints or a leopard leaps, its heart rate can triple almost instantly, pushing blood through arteries built for flexibility and strength. But this system comes with a cost. After each burst of power, the cat must rest, its body cooling and recalibrating as it recovers from the immense physical strain. This balance between endurance and power defines their very existence. They are not marathon runners. They are ambush specialists, relying on one single perfect moment of explosive transformation. Speed for the cheetah begins with air. The cheetah's skull and skeleton are meticulously shaped to move oxygen as efficiently as humanly possible. Its enlarged nasal passages act like superchargers, channeling huge volumes of air to its oversized lungs, while its uniquely lightweight bones reduce the energy cost of every movement. During a full sprint, its respiratory rate can exceed 150 breaths per minute, which is roughly 2.5 breaths every second. Its spine stretches and compresses like a powerful spring, pushing the rib cage to pump air in perfect rhythm with each long stride. This is a body built as an aerobic architecture, where every single structure serves the flow of air. Yet, this perfection comes with its own inherent limits. After a chase, the cheetah's body overheats rapidly, forcing it to rest and pant until its core temperature drops. Evolution traded durability for acceleration. The result is a breathtaking, fragile organism, sculpted by air and by motion. A body built to touch the very edge of physics, if only for a few glorious moments. High in the Himalayas, another cat's survival depends on a different kind of anatomical engineering. Snow leopards walk where few other creatures dare to go. Their wide, fur-covered paws spread their weight evenly across the deep snow, functioning like perfect, natural snowshoes. The thick fur that grows even between their toes insulates them against the biting ice and provides crucial traction on slippery rock. When they leap between cliffs, sometimes spanning more than 40 feet, these powerful paws land silently, absorbing the full, jarring force of the fall. This quiet engineering keeps them stable in a world of thin air and shifting snow. Each step is careful, yet completely confident. A pattern of movement learned over millions of years of life at the roof of the world. To follow those prints is to trace the path of a creature that is perfectly, beautifully suited to the sky's cold, unforgiving floor. The camouflage of the great cats is a masterclass in blending with the environment. The tawny golden color of a lion's fur is not just random beauty, it is practical, strategic design. The golden hue perfectly mirrors the dry grasses and dusty soil of its savanna home, helping the great cat to vanish into the landscape. Under the soft light of dawn or dusk, a resting lion becomes nearly invisible until the moment it moves. Lion cubs are born with faint spots that fade as they grow, a relic of their ancestral camouflage, which was once useful in the denser, more wooded habitats of their distant past. Even the texture of their fur is an adaptation. Coarse guard hairs protect their skin against the harsh sun and sharp thorns, while a softer underfur helps to regulate their body temperature. The lion may be a symbol of boldness and power,
Yet its success so often begins with the profound advantage of invisibility, hidden in plain golden view. The leopard's pattern of rosettes, clusters of dark spots encircling lighter fur, is more than mere decoration. It is a mimicry of light itself. In the forests and thickets where the leopard hunts, sunlight filters down through the leaves in scattered, shifting patches. The rosettes break up the cat's outline, blending its body's contours into this moving mosaic of light and shadow. Even its motion becomes disguised. The eye of its prey cannot follow a shape that constantly merges with the shadows around it. Biologists using computer models to study how this fractal camouflage works have found parallels with the patterns on fish and snakes. The result is nature's quiet illusionist, a predator painted not to be seen, but to move invisibly through a world of moving light. At first glance, jaguars resemble leopards, but if you look closer, the difference reveals itself in the fine details. Each one of the jaguar's rosettes contains a small central dot, a unique signature that distinguishes the species. This subtle feature may help with recognition among individuals, but its origin lies in evolution and in the environment. In the dim, murky light of the tropical rainforests, these dotted rosettes do a better job of imitating the play of sun through the dense, wet foliage. The jaguar's heavier, more muscular build and its thicker coat further differentiate it from its African cousin, turning the same basic pattern into a tool for stealth in an entirely new and much darker setting. Conservationists now use these unique rosette patterns to identify and track individual jaguars with photographic precision, proving that no two jaguars ever wear the exact same design. Every spot, every dot, is a personal signature, a living fingerprint written in gold and black. Though we often imagine tigers as being a single fiery orange, their coats actually vary widely, adapting to both habitat and genetics. This is a story of regional adaptation across the vast geopolitical landscape of Asia. In the humid, dense jungles of the south, their fur tends to be darker and richer in color, providing starker contrast in the deeply shadowed vegetation. But in the northern forests and snowy regions of Siberia and China, tigers grow paler, with thicker fur and fainter, more subtle striping to blend with the snow. This orange hue, contrary to what we might think, is a masterful form of camouflage against their primary prey. Deer and wild boar are dichromats, meaning they see in a limited color spectrum. To them, the tiger's brilliant orange coat appears as a dull greenish-brown, allowing the predator to melt into the background foliage. Nature's palette, as always, is functional first and beautiful only by coincidence. Sometimes this genetic lottery produces a creature of pure myth. Some tigers are born completely white. White tigers are not a separate species, but the product of a rare recessive genetic variation that suppresses the red and yellow pigments in their fur, leaving only the black stripes over a creamy white coat. In the wild, this combination is exceedingly rare, though historical records suggest they once roamed parts of India. Today, most white tigers descend from a handful of individuals bred in captivity. This has become a geopolitical issue in conservation, as the public's fascination has unfortunately led to extensive inbreeding, often prioritizing the stunning appearance over the genetic health of the animals. The white tiger is, in essence, a beautiful, fragile experiment of evolution, a natural variation that dazzles the eye but survives today almost entirely by human hands. This human fascination with big cats is nothing new. It is a story as old as power itself. Ancient kings kept lions as living symbols of their own authority. Long before lions appeared on national emblems or coins, real ones paced behind the walls of palaces. From Mesopotamia to Persia and ancient Egypt, rulers kept lions as living proof of their dominance over the natural world. Stone reliefs from the ancient city of Nineveh show Assyrian kings engaging in carefully staged lion hunts, which were not sport, but political rituals meant to display bravery and absolute control. Egyptian pharaohs bred them as royal companions, associating them with the powerful sun god, Ra. In ancient Rome, lions became the ultimate spectacle in the Colosseum, their presence a bloody symbol of the empire's reach and authority. Across cultures, the lion's image became a universal shorthand for courage, leadership, and a strength that seemed almost divine. Yet behind that powerful symbolism stands the real animal, social, intelligent, and deeply vulnerable, whose majesty inspired humanity's oldest stories of power, and whose roar still echoes through our collective memory. In Asia, the tiger holds a similar mythic power. It appears in myths from India to China not as a symbol of a king, but as a creature of cosmic balance. In Chinese cosmology, the white tiger is one of the 4 celestial guardians, ruling the western sky and symbolizing the season of autumn. In India, the powerful goddess Durga rides a tiger into battle, signifying a power that is used with divine purpose.
Throughout Southeast Asia, tiger spirits are believed to guard the forests and mountains, maintaining the delicate balance between humans and the wild. These ancient myths often mirror deep ecological realities. The tiger's role as an apex predator keeps the entire ecosystem stable, a scientific truth that was reflected in these ancient stories long before the word ecology even existed. To revere the tiger was to acknowledge the fragile balance of life and death, of chaos and order. In ancient Egypt, the leopard held a spiritual weight that was woven into the very fabric of power and the afterlife. Priests serving the great god Osiris, the lord of the underworld, wore leopard skin cloaks during their most sacred rites. The spotted pelt was not just a garment. It was a symbol of the night sky, dotted with its eternal stars, representing the mysterious transition from the world of the living to the world of the dead. The leopard's natural grace and its profound stealth were seen as essential qualities for anyone hoping to journey between these two worlds. To the Egyptians, wearing the skin was not an act of conquest over nature, but one of deep transformation. The priest would take on the cat's spiritual attributes, becoming a creature capable of moving through the unseen realms. This deep association between feline power and spiritual passage persisted for centuries, a quiet echo of a civilization that saw divinity hidden beneath a patterned coat. In the ancient Maya world of the Americas, the jaguar was not just a symbol, it was a god. Depicted in stone carvings, vivid murals, and royal tombs, the jaguar represented strength, the night, and the perilous passage between life and death. The Maya believed that the sun itself transformed into a jaguar each evening to journey through the darkness of the underworld before being reborn at dawn. This made the jaguar a creature of immense dualistic power. It was both a being of this world and a lord of the next. Kings, who were seen as divine figures, adorned themselves with jaguar pelts to claim their divine favor and to project their own supernatural authority. Warriors took on jaguar names to channel its ferocious power in battle. To them, this great cat embodied both the danger and the absolute necessity of darkness, a reminder that the world's balance depends on the endless cycles of light and of shadow. Every spotted pelt they wore represented the stars scattered across the vast dark sky of night, and every roar was the voice of a god moving through the unseen corridors of time itself.
In the stories of the indigenous peoples of North and South America, the cougar plays a different, more intimate role. It is not a god, nor a symbol of a king. It is a teacher. Ancient legends describe how the first humans learned the essential arts of patience, of stealth, and of a deep respect for their prey by watching the cougar move silently through the land. In the stories of the Zuni and Hopi peoples, the cougar is a guardian of the North, a spirit that symbolizes strength achieved through silence and observation. Some tribes believed the spirit of the cougar guided their hunters, ensuring a sacred balance between taking what was needed for survival and giving back to the land. These tales were not mere superstition. They were a form of ecological wisdom passed down through countless generations.
The overall mood, these communities remembered to move carefully, to take only what was needed, and to maintain a profound harmony with the world around them. And finally, the cheetah. Long before modern times, ancient rulers in Persia, India, and Egypt practiced a unique form of hunting, using trained cheetahs. Unlike the other big cats, cheetahs can adapt well to a human presence and can be tamed from a young age. Royals kept hundreds of them in ornate compounds, transporting them on horseback or in special carriages to the open fields for the hunt. When released, the cheetah would chase down gazelles or hares with its breathtaking speed, and then return docilely to its handler afterward. The great Mughal emperor, Akbar the Great of India, was said to have kept more than 1,000 of these magnificent cats. These animals were never truly domesticated, but they became living symbols of royal elegance, of wealth, and of precision. They were a form of soft power, a display that showed the ruler could command even the fastest creature on earth. This tradition faded with the decline of the great empires, leaving behind only mosaics and ancient manuscripts depicting the spotted hunters standing beside their royal human companions. They are quiet reminders of a time when royalty measured its status not in gold or jewels, but in pure, untamable grace in motion. The very words we use to describe these creatures have traveled through time, carrying echoes of myth and wonder. The term panther, for example, has journeyed through languages and meanings for over 2,000 years. It comes from the ancient Greek panthera, a word combining pan, meaning all, and ther, meaning beast. In Greek myth, the panthera was a creature that could attract every animal in the world with its sweet, fragrant breath. Over time, the name became associated with the spotted big cats, particularly the leopard. In the Middle Ages, naturalists used panther as a simple catch-all term for any large, mysterious feline. Today, the word has transformed again. It most often describes melanistic leopards or jaguars, the famous black panthers. This journey of a word mirrors our own fascination with these animals. Part myth, part science. Each age has redefined the word to fit its own understanding of the wild. When we say Black Panther, we are really invoking centuries of storytelling. A quiet reminder that our language, just like evolution, adapts, carrying its ancient echoes of wonder through every translation. In the illuminated manuscripts of medieval Europe, lions roamed the pages not as animals, but as powerful moral teachers. The medieval bestiaries, which were illustrated books of creatures both real and imagined, described the lion as noble, wise, and even Christ-like. These stories were not meant as natural history, they were allegories. Writers claimed that lions slept with their eyes open, a symbol of God's constant divine vigilance. They wrote that lion cubs were born dead and only came to life on the third day when their father breathed upon them, a direct and powerful allegory for the resurrection of Christ.
These stories spread across monasteries and royal courts, shaping heraldry, art, and literature for centuries. Although very few Europeans at the time had ever seen a real lion, its imagined virtues filled their art and their faith. The lion's image evolved from a physical predator into a spiritual parable. It became a mirror reflecting humanity's own highest ideals of bravery, of loyalty, and of rebirth. Even today, the stone sculptures of lions that guard the entrances to ancient cathedrals and castles carry that same expression: calm, watchful, and eternal. The echo of a story written not in science but in pure symbolism. In the high villages of the Himalayas, the snow leopard is also more than just an animal. But here, the stories are different. It is not a symbol of human ideals. It is a spirit of the mountains themselves. Ancient folktales describe the snow leopards as the silent protectors of sacred peaks, the guardians who ensure that humans do not overhunt or defile the land. To see one was considered a profound blessing, a sign that the mountains themselves had accepted your presence. Monks would sometimes paint their ghostly forms in temple murals, blending them with the clouds to show their ethereal, otherworldly nature. This reverence has a powerful modern effect. Conservationists have found that these ancient beliefs directly aid in modern protection efforts. A deep cultural reverence discourages poaching and fosters a spirit of coexistence between the villagers and the elusive cats. The snow leopard's ability to vanish into the mist only reinforces its legend: part animal, part apparition. In the thin, quiet air of the high mountains, where sound and time themselves seem to move more slowly, it is easy to understand why generations of people imagined something supernatural moving among the cliffs. A whisper of fur and silence, belonging to both the earth and the sky. This fascination is universal. From prehistoric cave walls to modern city murals, big cats have stalked through the human imagination since the very dawn of our creativity. The oldest known depiction, a lion-headed figurine carved from mammoth ivory over 30,000 years ago, may be the very first mythic hybrid ever created by human hands. Across centuries and across cultures, artists have captured not only their power, but their central paradox. The way they combine ferocious strength with an impossible, elegant grace, all in one perfect form. They are the living embodiment of both beauty and danger. Nature sometimes paints with a different palette, creating variations that seem to step directly out of myth and legend. One of the most striking is melanism, a rare genetic trait that gives some leopards and jaguars entirely black coats. This is the origin of the Black Panther. Under the bright sun, if you look closely, you can still see the faint, ghostly traces of their usual rosette patterns shimmering through the darkness like a hidden memory. Scientists believe this mutation offers a powerful strategic advantage in dense, dark forests, where a black coat provides the ultimate camouflage for an ambush hunter. It is a fascinating example of parallel evolution. In jaguars, the gene for melanism is dominant, while in leopards it is recessive. Two different species on two different continents arrived at the same beautiful shadowy adaptation through separate genetic pathways. Their striking appearance once gave rise to myths of supernatural cats that could vanish into the night. Today, they face a modern threat, as their beauty makes them a coveted prize in the illegal international pet trade. Another genetic rarity produces a creature of pure light. White lions are among the rarest big cats on Earth. They are not albinos. They retain the pigment in their golden eyes and dark skin. Their pale, creamy coats are the result of a recessive gene, a mutation that filters out most of the golden color. Historically, they appeared only in one specific place on Earth, the Timbavati region of South Africa, where local legends describe them as sacred, celestial messengers sent from the gods. For decades, they vanished entirely from the wild, surviving only in captivity, until careful, managed reintroduction programs restored them to their protected native lands. Their ghostly beauty, however, has become both a blessing and a curse.
It has made them a powerful emblem for conservation, but it has also created a complex geopolitical and economic problem. The image of the white lion is a valuable commodity, driving ecotourism but also fueling a dark industry of canned hunting, creating an ethical battleground over the soul of conservation in the region. Human intervention has created other, more controversial variations. When a male lion mates with a female tiger, the result is a liger, the largest cat in existence. If you reverse the pairing, you get a tigon, which is generally smaller but equally fascinating. These hybrids occur only in captivity. In the wild, lions and tigers live on different continents, their paths separated by geography and millions of years of evolution. Ligers can exceed 1,000 pounds, a colossal size that combines the social temperament of a lion with a love of swimming inherited from their tiger mother. Because their parent species diverged so long ago, these hybrids are often sterile, a genetic dead end. They exist as living case studies in genetics, but they also represent a deep ethical controversy. They are often bred not for conservation, but for pure spectacle, living their lives as curiosities in private zoos and menageries, a testament to humanity's enduring desire to control and reshape the natural world. And then there is the king cheetah. Every so often, nature produces a cheetah with long, dark stripes running down its back instead of the usual pattern of spots. These magnificent king cheetahs owe their striking pattern to a rare mutation in a single gene that affects how coat patterns are formed. When they were first described in South Africa in the early 20th century, they were thought to be a completely new species. But later genetic studies revealed they are simply cheetahs, expressing an alternative coat design, much like the different patterns on tabby cats. The elongated markings may offer better camouflage in denser, more wooded vegetation, compared to the spotted version, which is perfectly suited for the open plains. Seeing one is a once-in-a-lifetime encounter, a vivid, beautiful reminder that even in a world of precision and adaptation, evolution still indulges in breathtaking artistry. But beneath the visible beauty of their coats, a silent, invisible crisis is unfolding. Across the world, the genetic diversity of the great cats is shrinking, eroded by the relentless expansion of our own world. As habitats are broken apart by roads, farms, and cities, once vast populations become trapped in small, isolated islands of wilderness. Without the ability to move between them, inbreeding becomes inevitable. This genetic decay leads to reduced fertility, a weakened resilience against disease, and a slow, quiet slide toward extinction. Tigers, lions, and cheetahs have all suffered from these genetic bottlenecks, moments in their history when their numbers fell so low that most of the surviving individuals shared nearly identical DNA. The cheetah's genome, for instance, shows an alarming lack of variation. It is a living ghost, a legacy of a near-extinction event at the end of the last ice age, from which its population has never fully recovered. Today, this problem is not a distant historical event. It is an ongoing geopolitical reality. The construction of massive infrastructure projects, from railways in Africa to new highways cutting through the forests of Southeast Asia, creates these fragments. It is a direct conflict between the urgent pace of human development and the deep, slow time needed for evolution to thrive.
Preserving wide, connected landscapes has become just as vital as protecting the animals themselves. Without a fresh and constant flow of genetic exchange, even the strongest and most powerful cats will grow fragile over the generations. Their future survival depends not just on the space they have to live, but on the invisible, unbroken thread of variation that keeps all life adaptable and strong. Within the lion's world, survival often depends on forming powerful political alliances. Male lions will frequently form coalitions, strategic partnerships that can last for an entire lifetime. In many cases, these alliances are forged between brothers or other close relatives. Together, they are a formidable force. They defend their territories, they hunt cooperatively, and they share access to the females of the pride. These coalitions dramatically increase their chances of survival, allowing the males to hold on to their pride lands for far longer than any solitary rival could ever hope to. Field studies in Kenya and Botswana reveal that these paired brothers communicate constantly through subtle body language and perfectly synchronized roaring. Their cooperation is so seamless it resembles a form of choreography. But this bond is not merely strategic, it runs deeper. When one of the partners dies, the survivor has often been observed staying near the body for days. These partnerships highlight the profound emotional intelligence of lions. They are social creatures that rely on trust and loyalty just as much as they rely on muscle and mane. The savanna may seem to be a world ruled by individual power, but its greatest rulers are those who have learned how to share that power. Two brothers walking the grasslands as one single enduring force. This need for connection makes the story of loss even more poignant. Some tiger subspecies have vanished entirely within our own living memory. A century ago, 9 distinct subspecies of tiger roamed across the vast continent of Asia. Today, only 6 remain. The Bali, the Javan, and the Caspian tigers all disappeared during the 20th century. They were victims of relentless hunting, of widespread deforestation, and of the simple, crushing pressure of human expansion. Each loss erased not just a population of animals, but a unique genetic heritage, a story shaped by a specific geography over thousands of years. The Bali tiger, the smallest of them all, once inhabited island forests no larger than a small county. The Caspian tiger prowled the vast reed beds and river valleys of Central Asia, its range once stretching for thousands of miles. These extinctions are so recent that photographs and records of them still remain. They are haunting reminders that even the most powerful apex predators can vanish in the span of a single human lifetime. Each missing tiger represents a broken branch on an ancient evolutionary tree, a tree that is still struggling to hold its shape in a rapidly changing world. And sometimes evolution responds to this fragmentation in surprising ways. On islands, leopards can evolve to become half the size of their mainland relatives. On places like Java and Sri Lanka, historical specimens show adult leopards weighing barely half as much as their African or Indian counterparts. Over generations, as these populations become isolated, natural selection begins to favor the individuals who require fewer resources to survive. This process, known as insular dwarfism, leads to compact, miniature, yet fully functional predators. It is a quiet, powerful example of evolution's relentless sculpting, a reminder that strength does not always mean size. Sometimes, in a world that keeps shrinking, survival comes from learning how to become smaller. The overall mood of shaping oneself to fit the landscape is a constant theme. Not all jaguars are the same size. In the dense, tangled jungles of the Amazon basin, jaguars tend to be smaller and more compact. But their relatives who roam the open grasslands and vast wetlands of the Pantanal are significantly larger and more powerful. This variation reflects a clear evolutionary trade-off, a strategic choice between maneuverability and raw strength. Navigating the thick, claustrophobic vegetation of the deep jungle favors agility and stealth. But in the open wetlands, larger jaguars have the size and power needed to tackle formidable prey like caimans and the giant anaconda. This is not just a random difference. It is a direct response to the political and physical landscape of their territory. The jaguar adjusts itself quietly, proving that evolution rewards not just might, but the ability to fit perfectly into the specific, demanding rhythms of a place. In the high mountains, the snow leopard's adaptation is not about size, but about surviving the cold. No animal embodies the word insulation quite like the snow leopard. Its coat contains up to 12,000 hairs per square inch. It is the densest fur of any big cat and among the thickest in the entire world. This fur grows up to 5 inches long on its belly, protecting the cat from temperatures that can plunge to 40 degrees below zero. The individual hairs are hollow, a brilliant piece of engineering that traps air for warmth without adding any significant weight. When blizzards roll through the Himalayas, the snow leopards simply curl their long, thick tails around their faces and vanish into the whiteness. Their survival in such an extreme and politically remote region, often on the contested borders of powerful nations, is a testament to evolution's artistry. An animal engineered to thrive where even breath itself seems to be frozen in place. Each great cat is a king in its own domain. The African lion reigns over the continent's sweeping savannas, an ecosystem built on open visibility and the absolute necessity of coordination. Their social structure is perfectly suited to these vast open plains. Cooperative hunting allows the pride to target the great herds that would easily overwhelm any solitary predator. The lionesses fan out across the grass, moving like silent ghosts until one signals the charge. The males patrol the perimeter of their territory, their powerful roars carrying for miles across the open air. In this role, they are the keystone species, the geopolitical anchors of their environment, maintaining the delicate balance among the herbivore populations and preventing the overgrazing that could turn the grasslands to dust. Their dominance is not just physical, it is ecological. A healthy pride of lions indicates a healthy, functioning savanna. The tiger, by contrast, is the undisputed ruler of Asia's dense vertical forests. From the mangrove swamps of India to the vast snowy taiga of Siberia, tigers are masters of a world of shadows and hidden places. Their brilliant orange coats blend into the filtered, dappled light of the leaves. They are an illusion of flame flickering between the trees. They maintain enormous territories, marking them with scratches and with scent. In these silent realms, the tiger's presence defines the entire ecosystem. Conservationists call them an umbrella species because protecting the tiger and its vast territory means that you are, by extension, safeguarding every other smaller species that lives beneath that canopy of protection.
When a forest falls silent, except for one low, rumbling breath, that is the tiger, the embodiment of Asia's last wild heart. The jaguar moves like a ghost through the rainforests and swamps of the Americas. Its broad paws muffle every single step, spreading its weight over the soft, wet ground. It is perfectly comfortable in the water, gliding through flooded forests to ambush its prey. It is an apex predator, controlling the populations of deer, of capybaras, and even of reptiles. Even the powerful crocodilian caimans fall victim to its bone-crushing bite. They are the silent regulators of the jungle.
But among all the great cats, the leopard may be the most adaptable of all. They are the ultimate survivors. They live in deserts, in rainforests, in savannas, and even on the outskirts of major sprawling cities. Their incredible flexibility comes from a broad, opportunistic diet. They can hunt anything from insects to large antelope. And it comes from their stealthy, solitary nature. This profound adaptability has made them the most widespread big cat species on Earth, stretching all across Africa and Asia. In the urban centers of India, some leopards have even learned to survive near bustling suburbs, slipping like shadows through alleyways at night and returning to the forested edges by dawn. This brings them into a new kind of geopolitical conflict, a direct and dangerous competition with humanity. The leopard is a living blueprint of resilience in a rapidly and relentlessly transforming planet. No other big cat on Earth lives as high as the snow leopard. These elusive, ghostly predators inhabit the great mountain ranges of Asia, reaching over 18,000 feet above sea level. These are elevations where even the mighty eagles struggle to soar. The overall mood holds less than half the oxygen found at sea level. Yet the snow leopards move effortlessly, their bodies perfectly engineered for the thin air, supported by deep chests, large nasal passages, and blood that is rich in oxygen-binding hemoglobin. Their territory spans across cliffs, glaciers, and scree fields, landscapes so barren that prey is incredibly scarce. To survive, they must roam across vast areas, following the seasonal migrations of blue sheep and ibex. Scientists tracking them with satellite collars have recorded epic journeys spanning more than 100 miles in just a few weeks. They are, in every sense, phantoms of the mountains, creatures that have turned the thin, cold air of the Earth's roof into a kingdom that few others can ever endure. From these silent, frozen heights, we return to the open plains, a landscape that demands a completely different kind of specialization. Cheetahs thrive in environments that match their greatest asset, open space. The wide, sweeping grasslands and light woodlands of Africa offer them the room they need to accelerate, to reach the staggering speeds their bodies were uniquely built for. In these vast spaces, cover is minimal, so the cheetah must rely on its camouflage and its stealth until that final, explosive burst of speed. Its tan coat, speckled with its signature black spots, blends seamlessly with the waving grass, masking its approach. But this specialization makes them uniquely vulnerable. As open land gives way to farms, to fences, and to roads, their domain shrinks, and their greatest advantage is lost. To see a cheetah sprint across an open plain is to glimpse perfection in motion, an animal designed for pure, fleeting, and fragile grace. And then there is the ultimate generalist. No big cat spans more habitats than the cougar.
The frozen northern peaks of Canada to the searing deserts of Patagonia, these solitary hunters have mastered nearly every single landscape in the Americas. Their secret is their profound adaptability. Cougars adjust their diet, their hunting techniques, and the size of their territory to perfectly match their environment. They stalk deer in the deep forests. They ambush guanacos on the high plains. And they can subsist on hares and other small prey in the harshest of deserts. Unlike the great lions or tigers, they require no pack or pride. They need only silence and patience. The cougar endures, not through sheer dominance, but through a quiet, relentless versatility. It is a powerful reminder that survival often favors those who can move lightly and adapt quickly across the ever-changing map of the world. Every one of these great cats, in its own domain, acts as a keystone species. It is the anchor that holds its entire ecosystem in a state of equilibrium. By preying on the old, the weak, or the overabundant animals, they regulate the populations below them and prevent the degradation of their shared habitat. In Africa, the lions keep the great herbivore herds from overgrazing the fragile grasslands. In Asia, the tigers control the numbers of deer and wild boar, which allows the forests to regenerate. When these apex predators vanish from a landscape, the consequences are catastrophic. Prey populations multiply unchecked. The vegetation is stripped bare, and smaller species suffer. It is a cascade of imbalance, a form of ecological state collapse that scientists call a trophic cascade. The disappearance of big cats triggers these changes that ripple downwards through the entire ecosystem. Where tigers were eradicated from parts of Asia, deer populations exploded, stripping the forests bare of their undergrowth.
Where lions declined in Africa, the populations of hyenas and baboons expanded, altering the predator-prey dynamics and dramatically increasing the conflict between wildlife and humans. This phenomenon reveals just how tightly and how delicately all of life is interconnected. Without the apex predators, the entire balance collapses. Even the plants and the rivers respond to the void they leave behind. The loss of these great cats is not merely the absence of beauty or power. It is the unraveling of the very structure of the wild. It is the silence that is left when an entire symphony loses its leading and most important note. Because of this immense influence, ecologists often call the great cats indicator species. Their continued presence in a landscape is a clear signal that the ecosystem beneath them, the prey, the vegetation, and the climate, remains intact. A thriving population of tigers means that the forests are healthy and the herbivore populations are abundant. Lions on the open plain signal that the great herds are balanced and the habitats are open and connected. Because they require such large, unbroken territories, protecting these big cats indirectly preserves countless smaller species that live within the same vast web of life. Conservationists use their population trends like a doctor reading a heartbeat. It is a vital sign for the wilderness itself. When those numbers drop, it serves as a stark warning that something deeper is wrong. The deforestation, poaching, or climate disruption is taking its toll. In this way, the great cats serve as both powerful symbols and as living systems, proof that the world's balance endures only when all of its parts remain connected. Where the roar can still be heard, life still finds its ancient rhythm.
But across Asia, the sound of a tiger's roar has grown heartbreakingly rare. Once, these magnificent animals ranged from the coast of Turkey all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Today, they survive only in small, fragmented pockets scattered across just 13 countries. Global estimates suggest that fewer than 4,000 of them remain in the wild. This is a number so small, it is less than the number of tigers once held in captivity around the world. Their catastrophic decline stems from relentless deforestation and from a brutal, illegal wildlife trade that fuels international criminal networks. Yet, in this darkness, there is a glimmer of hope. India's Project Tiger, a massive state-sponsored conservation effort launched in the 1970s, has helped to double the populations in some of its key reserves. And in Nepal and Bhutan, coordinated international patrols and community-led conservation programs are beginning to reverse decades of loss. Every single surviving tiger represents a small triumph of patience, of protection, and of sheer persistence. The story of the lion is just as precarious. In the last 50 years alone, Africa's lion population has dropped by almost half. They once roamed across the entire continent and deep into the Middle East. Now, they occupy less than 10% of their historical range.
The pressures are the same: habitat loss, escalating human-wildlife conflict over resources, and poaching. Yet here too, some populations are beginning to rebound thanks to ambitious cross-border conservation projects. Parks like the Kavango Zambezi Transfrontier Park have created immense protected corridors which allow the prides to move safely between 5 different countries. This is a new kind of geopolitics, a diplomacy of ecology. As human development continues to fragment the wilderness, many big cats find themselves trapped in these shrinking islands of habitat.
The overall mood is creating wildlife corridors. These are protected stretches of land, or sometimes elevated crossings and underpasses, that are designed to link these separated ecosystems. In India, corridors built between the major tiger reserves now allow safe passage for breeding adults, a vital artery for genetic flow. In North America, underpasses and overpasses are helping cougars to reclaim their ancient routes through the Rocky Mountains. These corridors act like veins through which the wild can begin to breathe again. They are a reconnection of the genetic flow that sustains all life. When scientists track the very first animal to safely cross one of these new bridges, it is more than just a data point. It is a profound moment of reconnection between 2 broken worlds. Deep in the world's last wild places, technology is rewriting what we thought we knew about extinction. Motion-triggered cameras, our silent sentinels, have captured images of great cats long believed to have vanished entirely from a region. From Indo-Chinese leopards in Cambodia to tigers reappearing in forests once declared empty, each photograph arrives like a pulse from an unseen world. It is a single ghostly image, an eye glinting in the infrared light, a faint stripe pattern confirming a lost identity. Scientists use sophisticated software to match these unique markings against vast databases, revealing the individual lives of animals unfolding far from any human view. Entire populations have been rediscovered this way, sparking urgent conservation efforts and redrawing the geopolitical map of where these animals survive. The technology proves a profound truth. Hidden deep in the world's last wild places, technology is rewriting what we thought we knew about extinction. Motion-triggered cameras, our silent sentinels, have captured images of great cats long believed to have vanished entirely from a region. From Indo-Chinese leopards in Cambodia to tigers reappearing in forests once declared empty, each photograph arrives like a pulse from an unseen world. It is a single, ghostly image, an eye glinting in the infrared light, a faint stripe pattern confirming a lost identity. Scientists use sophisticated software to match these unique markings against vast databases, revealing the individual lives of animals unfolding far from any human view. Entire populations have been rediscovered this way, sparking urgent conservation efforts and redrawing the geopolitical map of where these animals survive. The technology proves a profound truth. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Even in a world we think is fully mapped and measured, the wild still holds its secrets. This quiet intelligence gathering is now paired with a new form of high-tech enforcement. Modern conservation has become a technological pursuit, an arms race against extinction. In protected reserves across Africa and Asia, anti-poaching teams now use drones equipped with thermal cameras to patrol vast, difficult landscapes from the air. Artificial intelligence analyzes this footage in real time, identifying the telltale heat signatures of human movement or vehicle patterns that might indicate illegal activity. These digital guardians can cover terrain that would take rangers days to traverse on foot. This is a quiet, technological revolution. Machines are working not for exploitation, but for protection.
This technology is combined with elite on-the-ground patrols and sniffer dogs trained to detect animal products, creating a multi-layered defense network. In India, AI-assisted networks monitor the tiger reserves 24 hours a day. While in Kenya, predictive models analyze data to map potential poaching routes before the poachers can even use them. It is a strategic battle of information and response. When a drone hums silently over the moonlit savanna, it is not intruding on the wild. It is helping to keep its ancient silence intact. In zoos and breeding centers around the world, another technological battle is being waged, this one at the genetic level. Scientists now carefully manage the DNA of captive big cats to preserve healthy, resilient diversity. Genetic analysis identifies which individuals should be paired for mating, a crucial step to avoid the inbreeding that can cause devastating health defects. This practice is guided by vast global databases that track the lineage and ancestry of almost every captive individual. For critically endangered subspecies, while in Kenya, predictive models analyze data to map potential poaching routes before the poachers can even use them. It is a strategic battle of information and response. When a drone hums silently over the moonlit savanna, it is not intruding on the wild. It is helping to keep its ancient silence intact. In zoos and breeding centers around the world, another technological battle is being waged, this one at the genetic level. Scientists now carefully manage the DNA of captive big cats to preserve healthy, resilient diversity. Genetic analysis identifies which individuals should be paired for mating, a crucial step to avoid the inbreeding that can cause devastating health defects. This practice is guided by vast global databases that track the lineage and ancestry of almost every captive individual. For critically endangered subspecies like the Amur leopard or the Sumatran tiger, these programs act as a final lifeline, a genetic insurance policy should the wild populations ever collapse completely. It is a biological vault, preserving the precious blueprint of life. Every single cub born under these carefully managed conditions is not just a captive creature. It is a carefully protected chapter in evolution's long and increasingly fragile story. In regions where the survival of wildlife often clashes with the urgent needs of human poverty, a new economic model has become one of the most effective conservation tools. This is the world of ecotourism. When international visitors pay to see lions, tigers, or leopards in their natural habitats, the revenue can flow directly into local economies, funding the salaries of rangers, building schools, and creating sustainable jobs. This creates a profound geopolitical and economic shift in incentives. A living lion, a breathing tiger, is now worth far more to the community than a dead one.
The overall mood is a valuable, renewable asset. Countries like Botswana, Namibia, and India have demonstrated how well-managed, responsible tourism can transform these great predators from perceived threats into the engines of local prosperity. But this tool must be wielded with incredible care. Too much disturbance, too many vehicles can harm the very species it is meant to protect. The best programs strictly cap visitor numbers, they invest in training local guides, and they ensure that a significant portion of the profits stays within the nearby villages, making the community a direct stakeholder in the animal's survival. Done right, ecotourism turns our global admiration for these animals into direct, tangible protection. It weaves human livelihood and wildlife survival into the same sustainable thread. Beyond protection, there is a bolder vision.
the ambitious practice of rewilding, which aims to restore entire ecosystems by reintroducing the key species that were once lost. And the great cats are often at the very center of these efforts. This is not simply releasing animals back into the wild. It is a form of ecological reconstruction, a decades-long process that requires immense political will and scientific precision. In Kazakhstan, scientists are working on a monumental project to re-establish the Caspian tiger, using its close genetic relatives from Siberia to bring a ghost back to life. In South Africa, lions and cheetahs have been successfully reintroduced to regions where they vanished a century ago. These efforts require years of meticulous preparation, restoring the prey populations, building safe corridors for movement, and engaging the local communities to ensure their support. The results can be nothing short of spectacular. In India's Panna Tiger Reserve, tigers were brought back after a complete local extinction. And within a single decade, the entire forest ecosystem began to revive.
The vegetation recovered, the rivers stabilized, and the balance of the wild was restored. Rewilding doesn't just restore a single species. It rebuilds the broken relationships between the land, the animals, and deep time. It is a powerful, hopeful reminder that loss is not always permanent. That with care, with patience, and with cooperation, even the wild can begin to heal itself if we only step back and give it the room it needs to breathe again. And as these animals return, we are finding new ways to listen to them. The sound of a great cat's roar carries information as unique as a fingerprint. Scientists now use remote acoustic sensors to record these sounds, mapping the presence of specific lions or tigers across their large territories. Sophisticated software analyzes thousands of hours of these recordings, building sound maps of entire populations without ever disturbing the animals. In the future, this non-invasive, passive surveillance may replace the need for risky and invasive tagging entirely. It is a beautifully elegant concept, using the animal's own natural language to understand and protect it. Every single roar that is captured and cataloged is more than data. It is proof of life, echoing across the landscape. It is the sonic heartbeat of the wilderness, reminding us that even the deepest silence still carries a living memory. Few animals on Earth capture the human imagination like the great cats. Their strength, their beauty, and their profound mystery seem to bridge the vast gap between our modern world and something ancient and wild. They stir the same emotions that once kept our distant ancestors alert beside the flickering light of a fire. Today, as the wild spaces of the world continue to shrink, these cats stand at the final frontier between civilization and untamed nature.
The overall mood and friendly tone, these creatures have become powerful ambassadors for the natural world, embodying the idea that a sense of awe can inspire a sense of stewardship. To save them is to save a fragment of our own shared ancient history, and that history is written in bone. The fossilized remains of ancient big cats have rewritten the story of evolution again and again. From the saber-toothed Smilodon in the Americas to Panthera spelaea, the great European cave lion, these bones reveal just how adaptable the feline family truly is. By studying the wear patterns on their fossilized teeth and the chemical isotopes trapped within their bones, scientists can reconstruct the entire food webs of tens of thousands of years ago. Each fossil is a time capsule, a record of ancient climates, of forgotten prey, and of epic migration routes. They show that the great cats have survived ice ages, they have endured immense droughts, and they have crossed entire continents, adapting endlessly. The newest frontier in this story is the study of ancient DNA. As scientists begin to sequence the genetic material from these fossilized cats, a remarkable parallel has emerged between their movements and our own. Lions once spread all across Africa, Europe, and Asia, following the very same migration corridors that early humans later traveled. During the Great Ice Age, lions crossed the land bridges into North America at the same time that people did. These overlapping timelines suggest that our two species have shared the same landscapes and the same conflicts for over 100,000 years. Tracing these ancient migrations is not just about understanding cats, it is about understanding how ecosystems evolved alongside humanity. We were never alone on our long journey.
We have always walked in parallel with other apex species, watching each other and shaping each other's destinies across the wide, deep horizon of time. During the last ice age, Europe was home to true lions. The great cave lion prowled from Spain all the way to Siberia. Fossils found in England and in Germany prove that even the cold northern lands were once its domain. Standing larger than a modern lion, it bore faint striping and had a shorter mane. In France's Chauvet Cave, 20,000-year-old paintings depict these lions with an astonishing, breathtaking accuracy. These were not simple decorations, they were expressions of awe and of a deep understanding. Archaeologists believe these images reflected both a profound reverence and a healthy fear. They show early humans recognizing a powerful rival predator, yet admiring its grace. These portrayals show that our relationship with the great cats predates written language itself. They were among the first animals to inspire us to draw, to mythologize, and to tell stories. Each ancient brushstroke and each careful carving carries the same unspoken message. We saw something magnificent and we wanted to remember it. In a way, art itself began as humanity's first form of conservation, an attempt to hold on to something that we feared might one day vanish. Across Europe and Asia, archaeological sites have uncovered a story of an intimate and dangerous proximity. The bones of lions, of leopards, and even of tigers have been found near prehistoric human settlements. Some were likely hunted for their warm fur or for their meat, but others appear to have been part of sacred, ritual offerings. In certain caves, the remains of great lions rest beside human burials, suggesting a deep spiritual connection rather than just conflict.
These silent bones blur the line between hunter and hunted. They are evidence that our ancestors lived deep within the same ecological web, not apart from it. The proximity of these remains reminds us that coexistence with large carnivores is not a new modern challenge. It is an ancient negotiation, a conversation between two intelligent species written in fossilized silence and now rediscovered bone by bone. In Ice Age Europe, our ancestors wore necklaces fashioned from the teeth and claws of lions and leopards. These were not simple ornaments. They were symbols of courage, of status, and of spiritual power. The wearer, in a way, was borrowing the very essence of the predator. To hold one of these artifacts today is to feel a pulse of continuity, a direct connection to our deep past. Humans reaching for meaning through the powerful symbols of the wild. The instinct to honor the predator by wearing a part of it may seem primitive to us now, yet it reflects something timeless. An awareness that strength, beauty, and survival are all threads in the same great fabric. The lion's tooth worn around a hunter's neck was not just adornment, it was respect made visible. Even the very word we use for them has traveled with us through deep time. Linguists can trace the word cat back for thousands of years through a web of connected tongues. The Latin catus became shot in French, gato in Spanish, and cat in Old Norse. All of them likely stem from an even earlier Afro-Asiatic root, probably from ancient Egypt, reflecting how the first domesticated cats spread alongside the growth of human trade and culture.
The overall linguistic journey of this one small word mirrors our own global migration and our timeless fascination with all cats, both large and small. Today, the future of the great cats depends not on any single village or nation, but on global cooperation. No one country can save them alone. Their vast ranges cross our modern borders. The threats they face span entire continents, and their ultimate fate is now intertwined with global climate, with international trade, and with the relentless pace of human expansion. Their conservation today has become a form of international diplomacy, relying on global alliances, on data-sharing networks, on cross-border anti-poaching patrols, and on collaborative legislation against the networks of wildlife trafficking. Big cats do not recognize our borders, and so neither can their protection. Saving them requires us to think at the scale of the planet itself. And every single conservation success, every treaty signed, and every corridor built begins with one simple thing. It begins with awareness. Conservation is born not in the deep forests or on the high plains, but in the quiet moment of understanding. The moment someone learns that their own curiosity, their own compassion can help something wild to survive. Awareness is what fuels action. It inspires us to support sanctuaries, to reduce the demand for illegal animal products, or to simply spread the truth instead of the old myths. Scientists often say that saving the great cats requires both biology and storytelling, the hard data and the enduring dream. For hundreds of thousands of years, humanity and the great cats have lived side by side. We have been rivals, companions, and teachers. We feared them. We painted them on our cave walls. We hunted them. And now we have finally begun to protect them. In their story of evolution, we can glimpse our own, our adaptability, our intelligence, our resilience. We both rose from fragile beginnings to shape the world, each in our own way. Now, as the last wild spaces dwindle, our fates are once again intertwined. To protect them is to protect a mirror of ourselves, the part of us that still remembers the pulse of the wild, the deep silence of the hunt, and the profound awe of seeing golden eyes meet ours in the fading light of twilight. Their survival is not just about saving animals. It is about preserving the ancient, long-running dialogue between humanity and the soul of the natural world, a conversation that is still worth continuing. And so, our quiet journey draws to a close. From the gold-lit savannas of Africa to the silent, frozen ridges of the Himalayas, we have followed their paw prints, through the deep forests, across the endless deserts, and back into the mists of time itself. And everywhere they have walked, the great cats have left their echoes, not just in the soil, but deep inside of us. These animals, we have learned, are so much more than predators. They are the architects of balance, the silent guardians who shape the rhythm of every landscape they touch. When a lion roars, it is the sound of the grasslands remembering to whom they belong. When a snow leopard slips between the clouds, it is the mountain breathing in silence. And when a tiger moves through the deep forest, even the wind itself seems to hold its breath. Their survival now depends on us, on how gently we tread upon this earth, and on how carefully we listen. To save them is to protect something deep and wordless within ourselves, that ancient, quiet awareness of wildness, of a life lived uncontained. Perhaps that is why we find such peace in their presence. There is a kind of stillness in watching a strength that is tempered by such perfect grace. It is a reminder that power does not always have to roar. Sometimes it moves quietly, leaving only the whisper of fur against the wind. So, as the night settles softly around you, imagine the world they still inhabit. The deep, steady pulse of the savanna under starlight, the hush of a jungle just before the dawn, the frost-blue breath of a mountain cat in the thin, high air. Somewhere out there, those golden eyes still shine. The world is still alive, with motion and with mystery. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or to save them is to protect something deep and wordless within ourselves. That ancient, quiet awareness of wildness, of a life lived uncontained. Perhaps that is why we find such peace in their presence. There is a kind of stillness in watching a strength that is tempered by such perfect grace. It is a reminder that power does not always have to roar. Sometimes it moves quietly, leaving only the whisper of fur against the wind. So, as the night settles softly around you, imagine the world they still inhabit. The deep, steady pulse of the savanna under starlight, the hush of a jungle just before the dawn, the frost-blue breath of a mountain cat in the thin, high air. Somewhere out there, those golden eyes still shine. The world is still alive with motion and with mystery. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, just breathe. Let your thoughts wander like silent tracks through the tall grass. Let your heart beat slow to the rhythm of distant paws. And let the wild carry you gently into your dreams, calm, untamed, and free. Good night.